Since the beginning of the year, I met with like more than 100 brands. Face to face, the best names you can think of in D2C, a lot of them are suffering. And I'm just like so astonished by like the resilience of so many operators. Yotpo 2.0 was born from the realization that Yotpo needs to change from the inside out. If you want to lead a category like we lead in reviews and loyalty, you need to lead with one, pace of innovation. Your culture is what you tolerate. And we stopped tolerating like mediocre product. We stopped tolerating mediocre marketing. We stopped tolerating like a service that doesn't go above and beyond. Excellence demands focus. That's the only way. And if you want to be outstanding at something, you have to play the long-term game.
Tomer, it's great to reconnect. The last time we talked was, I guess, about 6 months ago in that really fun roundtable we did with Sean Frank and company.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that? That was excellent. That was raw. There was lots of great conversations there. But I feel like I didn't get I think you gave a little bit of your background and a bit of we were talking a lot about this idea of Yotpo 2.0, and I thought a really great place to start off would be the story of Yotpo 2.0 and why you felt it was necessary to have a 2 from a 1.
So first, thank you. Thank you for the conversation. I'll say that I think Yotpo 2.0 was born from the realization that Yotpo needs to change from the inside out. And we need to change many, many things if you want to fulfill our dreams and fulfill our vision as a company, because we were like one of the OGs of the Shopify ecosystem, grew with it quite substantially, and of course, beyond the Shopify ecosystem. And then I think that the post-COVID, like everyone else, right, it's like get back to reality a bit of like, okay, we need to go back to the fundamentals. And in Yotpo, the good and bad, we have like a lot of room to improvement in the way we build products, in the way we do marketing, in our pricing, in the way we do go-to-market in general. So we started from that. Like I'll give you an example. We brought like a lot of talent from the outside, from the brand side, from the agency side into Yotpo to make sure that we're building, serving the customer like they wanted to be built and served. Of course, pricing was a big change for us. Marketing, that I think now marketing became a strength, like our brand marketing and the marketing team have really transformed themselves. So it started from the realization that we must change. Like I always say in the leadership that I'm so proud that on one hand, we have the humility to say what we're not good at. Like I meet so many different founders that tell me why the business now is different post-COVID. And I get it. Like interest rate went high, so everything is tougher also for us. But also let's look inside where we became soft at that time. So one is like the humility. And the other thing is the conviction and the passion to want to change. Because I also know many companies that, understand what they need to change, but then the founder doesn't want to do that, or the management is not up for the challenge. And you see those companies all die slowly or, just not really transforming. And I think what the nice thing or the thing I love about our culture is the humility and the courage. And both of them together allow us to start this journey. We still have like a lot to walk through, but we definitely like every change, right? Like the toughest thing is the first step. We took the first step. And now it's just being consistent on the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth change.
And this kind of mirrors a lot that you've kind of gone through in your personal life as well. You've kind of done this remaking of yourself. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So I had like in the last few years, I had like two big like health issues, like the same issue. I had like cancer, and that forced me first to stop and observe on what I'm doing wrong in my life. And then definitely the second time, which I went through like a process called like a bone marrow transplant that was like very, very, very tough in 2022. It was very transformative for my life. I was reborn. I don't call it like Tomer 2.0. It would be like, I think I don't know, scary. But definitely I was reborn as a new person. And, I had my own first steps on the change what I eat, change who I am as a father, who I am as a husband, who I am as a CEO, change how I exercise, change many, many aspects of my life in order to become a better version of myself. And I'm so happy that the universe, on one hand, gave me the opportunity to look internal. And the second, to give me like the opportunity to actually change. Because, I've been to like really dark places, and in the dark places, you're not sure if you'll get the opportunity to change or not. And I think this is why I always say in Yotpo, we shouldn't take it for granted that we have the opportunity. We have like the balance sheet, we have like the customer side, we have the culture, we have the management, the actual opportunity to change. Many people, I've seen it firsthand, don't have the opportunity to change, and many companies don't have the opportunity to change. And so we should be very thankful for that.
But if you don't, you really risk stagnation. I was actually listening to a podcast this weekend that was about America as a country, actually. And it was just talking about how America is one of the only countries who does this, who goes every 50 years, they have a giant crisis and they kind of change things up, whether it was like the petrodollar in the 70s or going off the gold standard or what's happening now with tariffs. It seems like there's like things get kind of thrown into chaos to kind of create a new way forward. And it's like, and it's like Europe doesn't really do that in a way. Europe just kind of continues along in the same pathways. So it creates a ton of opportunity. I'm just back to like what.
By the way, I'll just say on the weekend, I heard like a super interesting podcast on empires and how every empire rise, stagnate and fall. And US now is the current empire, and it's really interesting to see the patterns, and like the Roman Empire and like a few other. So it's like, I agree with you, like we can learn a lot about what's happening in America and the universe. It's like a very fascinating topic.
Yeah, I think so. We'll go into our meta politics podcast after. But just what are the actual ways, like what are the most tangible ways that Yotpo has repositioned itself or reemerged from the cocoon as a different company?
Yeah. So one, I think is, and there we still have a journey to do. So I don't want to pat ourselves on the back. I think like we're in the middle of a huge change in the way we build products, right? And if you want to lead the category like we lead in reviews and loyalty, you need to lead with one, pace of innovation. And the releases we released on, I'll give reviews as an example, in the last 12 months, AI summary, Atlas that we're launching, the syndication, TikTok shops, like we've been so much like progressing. And a lot of it is because the way we build products has changed. And what does that mean? I'll give you very tangible things. We increased dramatically the number of UX designers ratio to developers. We changed a lot of the talent. What else another example, the use of AI into our engineering teams is another one. We just replaced people. There's many people that we just changed. Pricing is another very tangible thing. Today, if you don't want to pay a lot for reviews, like, I don't know, we are definitely like very competitive and sometimes like one of the cheaper solutions out there. But if you do want to go for more value and more like a robust platform, we are definitely there as well. Marketing, huge. I think I'm an investor, and I know and I'm an advisor to a few of like SaaS providers. I can tell like many of them has tough times in terms of like new pipe creation. I don't want to jinx it, but we're having like the best pipe we had since October 2021. And a lot of it is because 18 months ago, we decided to change marketing. What does that mean? First, we had a decision. We stopped doing marketing that, e-com brands don't even want to know and don't even read, just marketing for the sake of marketing. We replace people, we replace how we come up with creatives, ideas, all of that. And I think now we're really leading with AI as well for production, so we're able to increase throughput as well. And so I think marketing is another one. Service is a huge one in my eyes. We brought so many people from the brand side, so many people from agencies that can really help brands, not just, fix or not just leverage the platform, but really think more strategically about like, let's take loyalty is another example, right? Loyalty is a big, like the incrementality of loyalty is the big discussion, right? Like, did they buy because of the loyalty or regardless of loyalty? So you really need like a loyalty expert and what we call internally like a loyalty specialist to walk you through on how to think about the value, how it changed. So that's like another big thing that we changed. So I want to say definitely like product, pricing, service, marketing. I can think about maybe others, but maybe the biggest change is culture. I think culture is, I heard a good sentence that I'm using a lot in Yotpo, that your culture is what you tolerate. And we stop tolerating like mediocre product. We stop tolerating mediocre marketing. We stop tolerating like a service that doesn't go above and beyond and that like really, really cares. And I think so we are meeting now in the midst of a huge transformation that Yotpo is doing. And as a founder that's been, for a long time, I find it like so exciting. I feel like I have like a new startup now to do like many, many things. So I love it.
And how is the journey on the ESP side of things going, on the email and SMS side? Because that's a big, big area of growth for you guys.
Yeah. So one, I'll say like it's been like a very on one hand humbling journey because Klaviyo, which is like the 800 pound gorilla, is a phenomenal company. I just have to say, like, just doing phenomenal work. So it's been very humbling on like trying to go at it. That's one. Second, I think it's been surprising in terms of like growth. I do think like the market wants an alternative also in SMS. And in SMS, you do have like also phenomenal companies like Postscript, that is a team I love, and Attentive, it's also a great company. So I think in general, it's on one hand very humbling and very satisfying. And on the other hand, we also now like thinking, okay, where we should focus, what's the strategy? It's also another thing I didn't mention, but the reason like I was 5 minutes late is we are doing like every week now, we have like 4 or 5 hours of a strategy session, that what we should think about our strategy. Should we revisit the strategy because of the Yotpo 2.0 as well? And definitely like the ESP side and the SMS side has been like a huge contribution to that, in like who we want to be, what's our vision to bring the most value to e-commerce brands or to omni-channel brands in general. So it's going to be interesting. I can tell you in the next few months, we have it's a very, very interesting few months, because we'll need to decide, okay, are we continuing the core strategy or not? And a lot of it is because of what we've been seeing on the email and SMS side.
We had a really interesting conversation at DTC on Friday, where my co-founder Jeff is very forward-thinking. He's obsessed with AI right now, and so he started musing with the idea of like, why shouldn't we be thinking about creating our own ESP in a way, where we can build it exactly for what we need. And I guess as a SaaS founder, you're having a lot of conversations about that, about how to build products that are for very specific kinds of clients, but how not to go too far down that line. Talk a little bit about the thoughts you're having about AI and what brands should be thinking about.
Yeah, so I'll say a few things on AI. One, it's an area I spend a lot of time, not as much as I wanted. Every time Toby, right, puts like another thing, but I definitely I think it's still underhyped in a way that it's going to really change our lives in the most profound ways possible. And I don't think anyone knows really. So they put a lot of salt on everything I'm just about to say, because, the prophecy is given for the fools, and I'm not a prophet, and there are much smarter people than me that understand much better than me that area. I can tell you in our universe, I'm seeing a few things. One, before I move to the product, actually our own operational efficiency. And I do think AI for SaaS companies will make more leaner teams that move faster, that you don't need so many people to do mostly like what I call like the tedious work or the boring work and all of that. I'll give you an example. In our marketing campaigns, what used to cost us 200 grand and like 4 months of work cost us now like 3 grand, and we do it in like 3 hours. So really, really transformed production, I think, for good. Support is another area that we see a lot of AI usage into. We even have in our G&A now, in finance, in legal, definitely in engineering, like the use of AI assistant code is like really, really important. And so that's one thing. And I'm like really pushing the company to really go through that gate of being an AI native company. The second thing on our product, I can tell you a few things that we're seeing. One is you can provide like really, really cool value. So let's think about loyalty, right? So when I think about loyalty today, most of like the loyalty programs or most of the loyalty application, if you brought it to like a membership and referrals and community, you and I are getting the same experience. But when we're going to reach a point where it's going to be one-to-one loyalty campaigns, right? Like a very hyper-personalized loyalty program for you versus me to get you to increase your repeat purchase rate. So that's one thing that I think in product brings like a lot of room for innovation. Like another very concrete example that today I can share. We have like AI summary. We were the first one to launch AI summary, which basically we did an analysis. We saw that the average user reads a review for 11 seconds. You can imagine that on mobile, if you have more than 5 reviews, no one ever gets to read them. So we did like an AI summary that actually take the relevant topics, knows how to basically to show you what you need in like 5 seconds. And in the beginning, it took down conversion rate because we did like just a wrapper on ChatGPT. And then we went deep with our data science to really go and build our own model. And now we actually increased conversion rate by 3%, which is like massive for brands. So AI is starting to bring a lot of innovation to many, many areas that were stagnant before. And I would say that what your partner said, I don't see yet AI writing full applications and replacing people altogether, because you need to do code reviews and you need to maintain AI, you need to maintain the code, because if you want to make change in some place, it affects another place. So the AI needs the full context, but it's going to get there. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when for me. And this is why I think, code and in general won't be a moat for companies. And this is maybe a change that I can't even grasp. What does it mean when the technology is not a moat anymore? It's not a competitive advantage. It means that like distribution is starting to be really, really big. And actually the go-to-market moat, and for people that read a lot, Mark Andreessen, he's really big on like the moat of like, or the network effect of distribution versus product. But the commoditization of code is going to be like crazy universe.
And so much of it will just be your ability to think creatively about your customers' problems and deliver on them. I like that you were mentioning the idea of reviews getting down to one-to-one, where you're like, based on my profile, there's a number of customer reviews that would be more impactful than others. Yeah. Maybe they're looking at the same product. Maybe they come from the same place. They're the same profile. Super, super interesting. And this kind of leads into an acquisition you guys made recently. You made I just did a chat with Adil from Klaviyo at Shop Talk about their CDP as well, moving from ESP to CDP. Talk to me a little bit about the acquisition and where you see that going in this one-to-one marketing future.
So we acquired like an amazing group of people that they are very much specialized in CDP technologies. What does that mean is how do you build like the customer data platform that can be very actionable, very straightforward, very extensible. And why? Because your AI is as good as your data, right? Again, when you think about like loyalty, and now it's not just like a loyalty product or a loyalty platform, it's a loyalty platform with a very strong data foundations that you can do many, many things with it, inject data from other sources to create like more engaging loyalty campaigns, or you can export the data, or you can pull the data if you want to look at like the customer timeline really, really quickly. So there's a lot of advantages. And in general, I think in order to prepare Yotpo, that's one of the things to an AI native world, we need to make sure we have like the strongest data foundations possible. And we make like an awesome team that has like tons of experience and passion. They built like an horizontal CDP, and not specifically for e-com, but we think for us, we believe there is an opportunity to rebuild something very actionable that, most marketers are not like deep on technology. They're not like engineers. So how do we take that deep technology and make it very accessible, very actionable for many marketers? So our plan is to incorporate it into the products. So it will be very natively and be very, very freely to use. And this is why I'm very, very excited about what that team can do for the future of retention marketing.
and work across the whole platform, not siloed into any individual one area, right? I think that's the beauty with a platform like yours, because you've got so many different areas where you can pull data from in order to create these unique customer experiences. One of the things I just saw you recently talking about, and it's something that we're really focused on at D2C as well. We've been so focused because we're, partnered with our agency Pilot House. So we've been so focused on brands and bringing brands into our ecosystem, and, all of our content is geared towards helping brands, but we're also an agency. And I think probably 40% of our audience are people in agencies as well. We're actually on the verge of launching a community for 7-8-figure agencies, basically. And I saw you guys, putting out your new sort of agency loyalty program. Talk about your focus on agencies as well.
Yeah, so one of the things we learned in the many years that we've been to e-commerce is that agencies are a huge part of what we build, meaning in multiple areas. One, they help us build products. Like we have our customer advisory board, but we talk a lot with agencies because they're one of the most advanced users of our platform. Second is agencies that help us work with brands, better serve brands, and we love partnering with them together. And I think a lot of in our e-commerce ecosystem, a lot of the SaaS providers, everyone has a partner program, but it's more of an affiliate program. All of the SaaS providers are wanting to just get leads from agencies. And we've been really trying to do something a bit different, is we're thinking a lot about advocacy from agencies in the sense that how we can just add value, how we can give agencies the most customers. So we're actually building processes and technology internally that knows to identify when we should send a lead to an agency. And we're spending a lot of time on doing that. And we're working on enablement a lot. And we have, I think, probably some of the largest teams and the most talented team in catering those agencies, and how we can help them understand better, how we can help them grow their business, because it really takes a village. And our partners and our agencies are part of our village. I would even say it's the same for tech partners. And we have many tech partners that we partner together that we love, that really 1 + 1 is greater than 3. And so usually Yotpo is the larger company. So how do we bring them clients? How do we build technology with them together? And we are now trying to invest more in our documentation, in our APIs, to make it easier both for agencies and for tech partners just to be part of the Yotpo ecosystem.
I also noticed a post you recently wrote about marshmallows.
Yes.
And this is something that it's funny, we talk about this we have something called the Marshmallow moment. It's something different, but it's basically this idea of creating value for our customers. Talk about the Marshmallow experiment that you recently spoke about on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so if people don't know, the Marshmallow test is a big test, very famous one that I think it was in the 1960s, I'm not sure. And they brought a bunch of kids, and for every kid, and I have 3 boys, and I can tell you my boys would probably fail the test. You put them in a room and tell them, hey, you can all get now 1 marshmallow, or you can wait 15 minutes and get 2 marshmallows. And then they would step out of the room and see what the kid did and observe. And the interesting piece is that I think they measure it 20, 30, 40 years later. The kids that actually postponed gratification and waited for the 2 marshmallow did much better in life in terms of work, in terms of marriage, in terms of raising kids, overall happiness. And that was a very profound moment in psychology, that we are machines that are geared towards immediate gratification, right? You want immediate feedback. This is why it's someone that's starting to do a lot of meditation. Meditation is very hard because you don't see any immediate feedback. And it's so freaking hard. So the Marshmallow test, and I think I as a founder, I failed at the Marshmallow test. That's Yotpo 1.0, right? We wanted fast growth. We thought the game is how do you grow this quarter? How much you grow this year? So that led us to we were very successful in short-term growth, but that led us to short-term decision-making. And I think we need to be more of postponing gratification as leaders, as operator or executive founders, to understand that it takes time, and many times you need to choose the path that actually bumps on the short term. You need to say no to certain things. You need to say no to clients. You need to say, because from different angles, but long term, infinite mindset, That's what's going to make you like much, much, much better. Because the individuals and the organization that have like the discipline to, to be focused and saying no, because eventually excellence demands focus. That's the only way. And if you want to be outstanding at something, you have to play the long-term game. So it's something that I keep reminding a lot of the executives in Yotpo. You ask me like, what is Yotpo 2.0? A lot of the time, I need to talk to our executives and reiterating the importance. And I use the marshmallow test as an example that let's not fail the marshmallow test. Let's make sure that we wait. And yes, maybe like this quarter is going to be less of a growth, or this year we could have done better. Like I'll give you an example I'll give you another example in loyalty. We have like so many clients that we're saying no to because we're not ready for them yet. And we will be at someday. Hopefully, when I mean someday, I mean Q1 next year. But I don't know. But I know that today, yes, we could have probably closed another like 300 grand of a deal. And we said no to, and you need to reiterate the marshmallow test with leaders until it's so ingrained into our culture. So I just had like a week that I used that like 4 different times. I said, fuck it. Let's like put it out there and for other people as well to see, because I think it's such an important reminder to many founders and many executives.
I think right now too, there's a lot of brands in sort of forced marshmallow test where due to the financial situation with tariffs, people have to maybe accept lower growth or accept squeezed margins with what's going on. What's your advice to brands out there right now who are feeling the pinch from the economy?
So first, since the beginning of the year, I met with like more than 100 brands, face-to-face, executive, like probably like the best names you can think of in D2C. A lot of them are suffering. And I've seen like amazing, like resilient. And I'm just like so astonished by like the resilience of so many operators, and they're changing factories and they're changing like pricing and they're doing so many layoffs and like, so many different things to live to fight another day. And first I want to say to everyone that's hearing it from the operator, like it's hard, keep going at it. It's hard and nothing like too smart to say like you're heroes, you're superheroes, keep on going at it. If there's something that Yotpo can do to help, we did like a bunch of like from pricing stuff to like free service stuff that we really try to have like relief packages for brands that's been like affected by the tariffs. And so reach out to us if we can help. But in general, know that many are in the same situation. And like everything, it will pass. So you just need to make sure that you do whatever it takes to live to fight another day. And no one really cares about this quarter's growth, and no one really cares about this year's growth. It's more our emotional and our desire to compare ourselves to, and leave that aside. Like just make sure like you're building like a great business for your customers, and it will pass at some point, and hang in there. And our hearts, and I can tell you in Yotpo, I've been talking a lot about the importance of empathy that we need to have in these moments, because these are like really tough moments. I had like founders that cried with me. I had like executives that were starting to ask me if they should start looking for a job. And I think it's tough, but it will pass. I don't know when, but it will.
And it's almost just like the state of this industry is constant flux in a way, right? There's always these challenges rear themselves so often, and it's just a matter of not quitting, just staying in the fight. Living to fight another day. Okay, so Yotpo 2.0, you're midway in the process, and you're not ready to obviously congratulate yourself yet. What will we see when Yotpo 2.0 is, for 75 or 100% along the way of the process? Where do you envision Yotpo 2.0, and what will that look like?
So first, we have like a few ambitious goals. One is to build the most loved company by brands and agencies in the e-commerce ecosystem. That means first we need to have the best products. So you should expect the products to really become much better. That will in the markets that we play in, we want to set the pace of innovation. We want to push brands to experiment and try new things. So definitely one is just like the pace of innovation and the value that you're getting from the platform. That's one. Second thing is really going above and beyond in terms of service and really be like an extension of the brand. Most D2C teams and most e-commerce teams are very nimble teams. And they're not big. Even, we have like massive customers, like some of the biggest companies in the world, even their teams are relatively small. So you can imagine that our service should be like much more helpful, much more strategic in many, many things that we're doing. Definitely should expect that AI should be more ingrained in the way you engage with Yotpo and the value that you get with Yotpo. And what else? I don't know. I think it's like there's no like end goal. It's always evolving. If you haven't read the book of like Infinite Mindset of Simon Sinek, I highly recommend that. Like, there's no like finite game here. It really is just keep on going and keep on going, keep on going. I also have like a personal goal that I want like the Yotpo top people to be uber happy. I want them to be like financially independent and rich so they can really reach their own level of happiness in life. So I want like for our employees to make a lot of money. I want our customers to make a lot of money from our products. I want our investors. So I have like also some sense of that the Yotpo 2.0 will be such a great company and such a great business that it will attract more people, more great people that care about e-commerce, and that we can bring more innovation to e-commerce. So launch more startups coming out of Yotpo. Like I think Yotpo ex-employees now launch like, I think it's like 15 startups already, that at least like 8 of them are in e-com. That for me, it's like amazing. So there's like, I have like many goals for the future of Yotpo. And it's a very cliche and a douchey sentence to say, so I usually hate to say it by founders, but I really feel that like we have so much to accomplish, like the just getting started type of a thing, but we are really in like day one in our ambitious and in my ambitious, at least for Yotpo.
And then on a personal level, I'm curious with some of the changes that you've made to your personal life, what are some of the most effective things you've done personally that have either really helped with your health or your mindset to get where you want to go?
We need like 2 episodes just for that. But I'll say, I think one is like the understanding or bringing it to the conscious mind that if I'll take care of myself, if I'm in like peak performance state, everything is better. Like if you really care about your kids, you're a better father. If you really care about how you are in work, you're a much better leader. So if you take care of yourself and you have the energy and state of mind, you're just performing at a level that I wasn't able to perform. So what does that mean? You need to have the right energy. So you need to eat properly. You need to sleep properly. You need to exercise properly. You need to have like a very good mind-body chemistry. So I have like a crazy schedule now. Like my wife hates me. I don't eat processed sugar. I won't eat carbs. I like prioritize my sleep. I prioritize reading. That entire, if you are truly like in a growth mindset, you have to put yourself in a place that you can grow in that kind of pace. So I would say to anyone that's really want to do that, just put yourself in like a peak state. And that really means taking care of yourself, that you have the energy, you have the state of mind that you can grow. So definitely for me, it's like nutrition, meditation, sports, sleep, supplements, ice bath. I'm like doing like all that you can imagine. And I really think I'm a better version of myself today. I don't know, there are many things I can say here, but I really think maybe the one tip I can give people, if you want to create a big change in your life, most people always think about the how. If I'll go to the gym on Monday and Friday, or you know what, I'll do a diet like that. It's a mistake. Go to your why you want to make a change. Because when the why is very strong, the how become like really, really easy. So keep on like reiterating yourself, like why you want to make a change, and make sure that the why is like strong enough. And for me, the why is so strong, I don't want to die, right? It's like the strongest why that you can think of. So the how is really easy. And every time I want to make a change, now I'm using that why as a tool, getting back to that feeling. And that's what enables me to continue growing.
Start with the why. That's what Yotpo starts with. So sounds good. You want to follow Tomer, follow him on LinkedIn. You make a lot of great posts there. Yes. And I think just to follow your journey, follow what's new with Yotpo 2.0, follow him there. Go check out Yotpo. Tomer, thanks so much for coming on today. This was a lot of fun.
This was great. And I'm a big fan. I'm a big listener on the way to work. So thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at directtoconsumer.co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.